Let's do the Java methods quiz. We're gonna start it now. Okay, so we have in total 7 questions, and it goes like this. An object named Dalmatian belongs to the spot class. Which of the following correctly calls the run method on Dalmatian? Okay, so we have an object of this spot class, and if we want to run a method called run on this object, which would be the right way to do it? Okay, let's see. So we have Dalmatian dot run, okay, and the name of the method should be followed by these parentheses. Okay, so my answer to this question would be the first one, and looks like it's correct. Now question number 2 goes like this. Which method signature would make a method that runs an int that returns an int and takes in a string? Okay, so which method signature would make a method that returns an int and takes in a string? So if you remember, the method signature is what we would see at the very top. Okay, so whenever we declare a method, that first line of code would be the method signature. Okay, so it returns an int, so we know that the type of that method should be int. So public int count letters, and it takes in a string. Okay, so this one, no, because this one takes 2 parameters and is not our answer. Okay, public string count letters in numbers, nope, because this is of type string and this is supposed to be returning of type int. Okay, so the second one is no good. Then we have a look at the third possible answer, and it says public int count letters, and it takes a parameter of type string. It takes in a string and it returns an int. Okay, returns an int, so public int. This is our correct answer, and this one is not. Okay, because it doesn't even have the keyword void or a type. If it's not void, it still needs to be something. Okay, so this definitely not. So therefore I think that the correct answer, I would say that the correct answer will be this one. Okay, when defining a method, the void keyword specifies which of the following? The method does not return a value. So far so good, I would say is this one. The method returns default Java errors. That's not correct. The method can run without being called. That's not correct either. The method does not take any parameters. That's not correct either. So when defining a method, if we say that the method is void, then it means that that method, when it is invoked or when it is called, is not going to return a value. Okay, and we're going to move on to the next question. Fill in the code that will call the add sugar method with 7 as an input. So we have to fill in the code that will call the add sugar method with 7 as an input. Okay, so we have to use add sugar and with 7 in parentheses. Okay, my cup add sugar, nope. This one definitely nope. This one would be it, because it says fill in the code that will call the method. How do we know that we have to call a method? Well, by using oh no, I was wrong, look at that, because we have already an object created here, my cup. Okay, and in order to run this method add sugar, we can't just run it on its own. We have to run it using an object. Okay, so we're gonna use the object my cup, dot add sugar, and within the brackets, within the parentheses, we'll have to add some sort of a number, okay, of type int, anything that would be considered an int. So we will have my cup dot add sugar 7. This is it, okay? That's why I think it's very important to read the code a few times and read all the possible solutions until you're actually sure that you understood what the question is asking, and you also understood what possible answers you have, okay? Okay. Moving on to the next question. It says, in this method definition, what does miles represent? Okay. So we have public void run. So we have a method that doesn't return anything, but it takes a parameter of type int, and the name of that parameter is miles. Okay. And the question is, in this method definition, what does miles represent? Okay. This says a Java specific keyword. I wouldn't say that is the correct answer, no. A constructor, nope. An object belonging to the miles class, nope. And then if we have a look at the last answer, a parameter of type int. Well, this would be it, because this is a parameter, okay, that is passed to this method, okay. Okay, continue. It says, is there an error that will prevent this code from running? Okay, let's pay close attention here. So we have to identify an error, if there's any, that will prevent this code from running, okay. So we have a class, and the name of the class is coffee, okay. We have the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket. We have public coffee, and this is the constructor of this class. We have public void stir, okay. We have a method that doesn't return anything, and the name of the method is stir, and this method doesn't take any parameters because they're empty here. And it says, okay, do something. So stirring. So string stirring equals stirring the coffee. Okay, this is not a problem. Public static void main. So we have the main method here, and it says coffee, my cup, equals new coffee. Okay, so far so good. On this line we are creating a new object of type coffee, okay? And then on this new object that we just created, we are calling the method stir, okay? So mycup.stir is perfectly fine. And then if we go onto this line, I believe this is going to be the one that has the problem. It says system.out.println stirring, okay? But if we have a look around, where do we see stirring? Well, stirring is in here. Stirring is in a method, okay? So we can't really use this variable because it's out of scope, okay? So this variable here only exists within these two curly braces, okay? Anywhere else we cannot use this this variable, okay? So therefore, if in main we are trying to print this variable, we're gonna get an error, okay? That's gonna cause a problem. Now that we've run through the code, let's see what possible answers we are being given. So is there an error that will prevent this code from running? Yes, the variable stirring cannot be accessed in the main method. So far, I would say that this is the answer, but let's have a look at the rest of them. Yes, the constructor cannot be empty. This is incorrect. The constructor can be empty. Is there an error? Then no, that's not it. Yes, the stir method should be returning a value. The stir method, no. The stir method is void, so therefore this wouldn't be the one that causes an issue. Therefore, I would say that the correct answer would be the first one, which is yes, the variable stirring cannot be accessed in the main method. And we are correct. We're going to move on to the next question and the last one. Which line of code is not an example of calling a method? So which line of code is not an example of calling a method? Okay, well, we know that in order to call a method, we have to use its name followed by the parentheses and to give it some sort of parameter or an argument if the method was declared as one that takes a parameter, okay? So which line of code is not an example of calling a method, okay? Int sugar cubes equals 7. Well, this is not an example of calling a method because here we're just declaring and assigning a value to a variable of type int called sugar cubes. System.out.println more sugar please. This is an example of calling a method, so this is not going to be our answer. Hello.equals goodbye. This would be an example of comparing two values, okay, and is done with the equals method, which we've seen in the previous lessons. So you would be comparing this value with this value, and then you will get a Boolean value, whether they're equal or not. Yeah, so the value of the Boolean that comes out of this code would depend on whether these two are equal or not, okay? And then my coffee cup dot empty cup. This is calling a method, okay? Because this would be an object, and on that object we would be calling, using the dot notation, we would be calling the method empty cup, okay? So out of all the questions, which line of code is not an example of calling a method? So out of all these answers, possible answers, I would say that the correct one, the one that is not an example of calling a method, is the first one. And there you go, there we have it. Good.